I remember back in the day when we used to go play India's team, like India was pretty much always been a better team than us, but at least we had one thing over them. It was like, the raw aggression, aggro.
We look scarier.
We look scary. We look bigger and scarier than them,
I think his speed is something like Jim Rat from Baza or something. I think that might be that. I'll find it. This guy's in a literal war zone.
Yeah.
And he documents his fitness journey.
Yeah.
Right? So that's another level, right? He's just doing push-ups and whatever he can find, like
Yeah.
finding whatever he can, and just lifting it or running or whatever.
Like the greatest heroes that you think of, be it Achilles, be it Alexander the Great. Bro, these guys are all big muscular guys. There's a reason why they're like this gold standard of
being fat is associated with being poor.
Yeah.
Being slim toned is the aesthetic now of the rich.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all there.
What do they all do after being nerds their entire lives? They've conquered the world. What is their last frontier? Physical fitness.
Yeah. Look at that guy. Have you seen the Telegram guy? Pavel Durov, the Telegram guy.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that guy is built like a fucking swimsuit model and the guy worth 20 billion. Like, look at that guy, bro. So this idea that, it's not for the elite. No, it is for the elite.
So bro, why do all the uncles we know have like massive tones, bro? What's the scene?
Because they're old and they don't give a
and because they're South Asian.
And because they're South Asian.
What's the scene with that exactly? Because all I've just heard like, all these social media influencers like saying
South Asian genetics.
South Asian genetics are absolutely chalked for working out and being lean because back in the day, the British put us through famine.
Yeah.
Which trained our bodies to store a lot of fat and shed muscle. That's pretty much all I know. And take it away, bro. What's up?
See, here's the thing. Like, that is possible because in times where food is short, your body will naturally prefer to use muscles as fuel rather than fat because muscles are a lot more calorie intensive than fat is. So calorie consumptive, yeah. Like to power, 10 pounds of muscle with calories, it's going to be a lot more than 10 pounds of fat. That's why you see a lot of jack guys, they can eat 5,000 calories a day without getting fat. It's because they have so much muscle, they will get, their body's going to start using their muscle as fuel if they don't. I mean, I'm talking really, really jack people. I'm talking like bodybuilders and stuff. Like, they can do this shit. You can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't. But there is some validity to that. But that hypothesis kind of, in a reductionist take, kind of breaks down if you look at Africa, where there is food shortages, but you don't see like those type of bellies. To this day, there are food shortages there, but you don't see the archetype. Maybe I'm mistaken, but
because they still don't have food.
Yeah, but if you don't have food and stuff, then your body's going to be trying to store more fat as a way to just keep them stored. But so I think there is something unique to South Asian genetics, and I think more importantly than what is unique to South Asian genetics is South Asian food.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation that we don't have because we're very proud of our culinary scene, but we should have a conversation about it because it's objectively pretty horrible.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
So Nihari being a national breakfast.
Yeah, imagine you wake up first thing in the morning is that you're downing 2,000 calories worth of maida, and then you're going to top it off with a cup of chai filled with sugar. There's another 300 calories or so.
Bro, my favorite part is when you do this and then there's some uncle who says, yeah, I'm going to walk it off. And there's a 10-minute story in your body that burns 3,000 calories.
भाई मैंने 3 प्लेट निहारी खाया, हलवा पूरी खाई है, चाय भी पी है, आधा घंटा वॉक कर लूंगा ना मैं फिट रहूंगा.
I remember I was at a Pakistani grocery store in Canada. I saw these Shimas, right? You know how many calories there were in one?
How many?
Not in the packet. In one Shima.
How many?
But there were 900 calories in one Shima.
That's more than I thought.
That's ridiculous.
That's more than I thought.
That's like...
But it's full of sugar.
Or half of your calorie intake for the day.
Yeah, depends on your activity. But it's obscene. So I think that we have to have a conversation about the way we eat in like South Asia.
So it's not just the fact, like me having kind of a gut right now is not just the fact that I'm a glutton. It's also the fact that our genes are not the best for the kind of diet that's been made available to us through all these high caloric foods, or the calorie bombs that are um like fried foods or chips,
Yeah.
or candy.
I mean, look,
It's no
that-
excuse, but like
yeah. There is some things that are above our control, but most of it is because, like, I'll give you like my own personal anecdote. Like I used to be a fat kid, man.
how fat?
Like I was 200 pounds. Like when I was
Feet?
I was 16. I was like 200 pounds. Like for reference, I'm like 5'11",
Yeah.
and 200 pounds at 5'11" is and I was fat. I wasn't working out at that time, so I was a big guy. Like I was a pretty chunky guy. Uh, at my lowest, I got to like 140 at 10% body fat. That wasn't healthy. Like right now, I'm about 170 right now. I don't know exact body fat percentage, probably somewhere between 15 and 20 right now. But if you want to change it, you can. There's no doubt. If you want to change your body comp, you can. It's just that you're gonna have to stay away from some of these foods, bro.
I think
No bros, no nehari, none of that stuff. Eat clean, make a habit out of it. You treat yourself like you figure out your own habits, but just be careful about what you're ingesting.
bro, that's a very right wing extremist suggestion of you right now, bro.
Why are you politicizing diet?
Bro, I haven't politicized it. A lot of people in the mainstream seem to have politicized it.
Am I oppressing the poor Pakistanis by telling them their diet is
Bro, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like when you tell them that, you having chai racks us up with a massive import bill every year, so could you please go a little lighter on that? But they're like, no, you. Like, our chai is more important. Like, we could become the next Sri Lanka, but our chai is more important.
the thing is that bro, the chai is got like about we import like 100-200 million dollars worth of chai. It's like the money is not the point here. It's about the health.
Yeah.
It's about the health, and I just don't think we're fucking unfit as a country, bro. Like look at our sports. Like we don't have any sports team besides cricket.
Look at our sports. Look at our sportsmen.
Yeah.
Like, we have some excuse to, have periods in our life where we're a little chubby.
Yeah.
Right? Where we're not at our best.
Yeah.
That's fine. And being a little chubby is fine. I'm talking about like being fat. That we make maybe you go through a face. That's perfectly alright. Why do we have national level sportsmen that do not even meet the bare minimum of fitness in any sport?
I don't know. It's a cultural thing, man. It's a cultural thing. I mean, at least at one point, like if you look at the early 2000s, like Pakistani cricket teams, right? Some of them were fat and some of them was infamously fat.
Yeah.
But like at least they were like big, tough dudes. You know what I mean? Shahid Afridi was a tank. Mohammad Irfan was the tankiest motherfucker to ever live. Umar Gul was a tank. Like a lot of these guys are big, intimidating guys. But like the current team, they don't even have like that type of like physicality to them. I remember back in the day when we used to go play India's team. Like India was pretty much always been a better team than us. But at least we had one thing over them. It was like the raw aggression, aggro.
We look scarier.
We look scary. We look bigger and scarier than them. So it's like we had some consolation where it's like, yeah, okay, these nerds are better than us at cricket, but at least like
At least we got some aura. Bro.
At least we got some aura. At least we're big and strong. We had this. But now when you look at today's cricket team, it's like, bro, we are the nerds. They look more imposing and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're like this bull.
Yeah.
You're this bull that's seen red and it's crashed out.
Yeah.
It's lost, but it lost in a cool, badass way.
Yeah.
Now you're like,
you're a raging bull. You got taken down by Matador. He's a bit of a nerd, but he took you down. That's okay.
Yeah, he took you.
There's some pride in that.
Yeah,
At least I can hand my head on. Hey, I'm still tougher than you.
Now when you get taken down, then you're like this meek, mousy,
Yeah.
frail physicality, and there's no dignity in it.
It's
there's
like,
no
bro,
aggression.
It's like India is still that cerebral, like
Yeah.
4D chess type team,
Yeah.
but now they're bigger and tougher than us as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm not personally okay. That's a matter of pride, you know. Like if there's one thing we have over the Indians, like they've got everything over us. They've got more money than us. They've got everything.
You know who still has it?
But at least
Afghanistan still has it.
yeah.
Afghanistan,
No, the Afghanistan team is
they look
tough,
tough.
bro. They look tough. Yeah. Who's there? Like Nabi, Shabi. I don't remember their names, but they're big tough guys. You know what I mean? They got that. But we used to hang our hat on one thing. It's like at least
But you know, you're
we're
speaking
bigger
of
and
India.
tougher than the Asians. You know, we're better looking.
Speaking of India, I saw this analysis recently. I'm not sure how formal or researched it was, or how scientific it was, but the case they made was they raised the question of why so many in the newer generation of Bollywood, like all the nepo babies that are children of big stars, are bigger and stronger than their parents were, and a lot taller than their parents.
Right.
The answer that they posited was they've got a much better diet, and it primarily centers around the fact that they consume a lot more protein than their parents. And they say that that's basically why they're bigger, stronger, taller, and all those things.
Yeah.
And I think, again, where casual fitness enjoyers, you're a notch above me. I would say I'm getting slowly introduced to the space. But I think it makes intuitive sense, right?
Yeah.
So the taller thing, I don't know how quickly that plays into you genetically, like how many generations it have to go on for. Is it if you just as yourself consume more meat than your parents did, does that really make such a statistically significant difference to your height? I don't know.
I read somewhere that it does.
But to be
And right, it matters a lot. Like when the mother is pregnant with the child and her protein intakes are higher.
Really?
Yeah. It makes a difference to the child's development and their testosterone level.
But even without getting too
Like when I have a
scientific
kid,
about it, because
yeah.
there'll be a dispute in no end about that.
Yeah.
People say they're.
I don't know. I'm not.
But
I'm
undeniable.
the science crowd. I'm just like I
You'll be
read
stronger.
this somewhere.
You'll be stronger for sure.
Yeah. I read this somewhere. You know what I
The
mean?
fact
I
that
don't
you're
know.
stronger and fitter, that is undeniable.
Yeah, for sure.
Because despite what people would want to have you believe, there is still no reasonable substitution for meat when it comes to ingesting the right amount of protein.
It's tough.
It's very different.
It's tough.
Like theoretically,
yeah, but like it's very, very tough.
Protein / calories, like the amount of protein you get in a certain amount of calories.
Yeah, like chicken breast is goated, like lean beef is goated.
Like, you can have your paneer and you can have even dal and whatever, but you need to have massive amounts to the point that it's going to offset your journey to get to where you
it's tough.
So,
quite tough.
So that's what the meat thing actually it makes sense.
In a meeting does make sense. And I think overall, if you look at it globally, right, like who are considered to be like, the big strong races of the world, like, you got the Nordic people, like always, like they take a ton of meat in their diet. You know what I mean? Africans, they eat a lot of meat. Western Europeans, they eat a lot of meat.
Pakistan and Nordic. It's all people who eat the most meat and they're the strongest.
Just look at home,
Yeah.
For sure, like, and not to be reductionist into like the martial race theory and stuff, but like if I look at just on anecdotal and just basically what you see, it's Pathans and Punjabis who eat the most meat, who probably are the biggest and strongest on average.
The like you just mentioned the martial race theory. I don't really want to get into the whole eugenics thing.
Yeah.
What I will say, a modern interpretation of that, which like applies to everyone, should just be common sense, where it's like all of us should be, no matter what race, no matter what demographic, or even gender, should be trying to get stronger, fitter, healthier.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything particularly controversial about that, despite what a lot of mainstream discourse in the West right now would have you believe. But thankfully, the entire the great bringer of or rather the really revolutionary product that's come out recently, Ozempic, I think that's just exposed so many people.
Yeah.
It's really
Ozempic overnight destroyed the body positivity movement.
Body positivity movement because it showed you that a lot of the people who were like, "Oh no, you shouldn't be fat phobic. You should be body positive." And, I'm not pro bullying anyone, but I think that was just a bad position to hold.
Yeah.
A lot of those people overnight decided we want to use Ozempic and we want to get thinner, slimmer, fitter, better looking.
Yeah.
What does that mean? The natural conclusion is that you wanted to be that all along.
Yeah, but
You
you're
just didn't want to put in
coping.
the effort.
You're just coping.
Right. It was just cool.
You were literally trying to psyop people into thinking, hey, be attractive as you're fat as well. And what the amount of like articles you would.
Did Lizzo do that?
I don't know.
Okay, so Lizzo was like this lady, this performer. Yeah, you know Lizzo. Okay, so Lizzo, apparently it was Lizzo or it was someone, some
I
celebrity.
think it was Adele.
Maybe.
I think it was Adele. Because Adele had a big weight loss, but I don't want to accuse somebody using Ozempic or not.
My issue with those people is that, okay, you look at it.
They said Drake used Ozempic, but he was already like slim.
Why would he?
I don't know.
Bro, look, there's a charitable interpretation of that, which is okay, maybe at first you didn't want to go through the effort. Then you found this way and you realized that this is your gateway to a potentially better life.
Yeah.
There's a charitable interpretation. There's another one which is much darker, which is that you were so deeply psyoped, you were so deeply narcissistic about how you were, when you were at an unhealthy place with your physique, when you were dangerously overweight.
Yeah.
Right? That rather than admitting the problem, which is an obvious problem, right? Which, unless you're in a very specific online subsection of discourse or in a certain kind of language, especially if you're in Pakistan and you have those thoughts, that means that you're like really in the Western niche, right? You're not really getting those ideas that's happening.
Yeah.
That you were so narcissistic about it that you decided that not only am I not going to admit the problem to myself, not only am I not going to make the effort required to rid myself of this problem, I'm going to usher in more people into this by telling them that it's a perfectly okay lifestyle they have. And in fact, maybe it's even desirable. That's kind of dark.
Yeah, it is. And as someone who has some personal experience to it, like I'm glad that it did not. It wasn't that prevalent when I was young. Like bullying was still kind of a thing in like 2013. Whereas like you would feel shamed, like, "Whoa, why am I fat?" Like I don't feel good for being fat.
Bullying, you mean basic social regulation?
Yeah, basic social regulation. I'm glad that I had the privilege of feeling shame for my fat ass. You know what I mean? If people are lacking that today, I do feel bad for them because it's a very, very powerful feeling and it will spur you to make a very positive change in your life.
Bro, I've gone on 2 weight loss journeys,
Yeah.
fitness/weight loss journeys. Both when I really, really needed it. And both when someone so my friends pointed it out to me casually. I was like, yeah, whatever. Both times when an acquaintance said it to my face, not in a very rude way, but just pointed out, they're like, you gained quite a bit of weight.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, damn.
Yeah,
I need to like, it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Again,
unless you're like on a bulk and it's like, yeah, I'm trying.
That's different. I'm talking about obviously a situation where you haven't been treating your body well.
Yeah.
You haven't been treating your gut well.
Yeah.
And maybe someone in the comments can fill us in on this more, but I have recently read about how your gut health and your mental health and your everything is super close. So just treating yourself well in that holistic way is super important.
Yeah.
And you should have the humility to admit to yourself when you're not doing that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you start hating yourself or hating how you look or altering yourself in unnatural ways. It just sometimes you have to feel a bit regretful, remorseful about what you've done with yourself. That doesn't border into the entire fat phobia narrative, which is like you're teaching people to hate themselves. We don't want anyone to hate themselves.
Yeah.
Right? We want you to dislike your habits and beat them and get out of them.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. And the oxymoron here is that the key to not hating yourself is like put in some work hard at something, and you will feel actual pride for the work you've done. That's it. Like you want to feel good. Like there's no such thing as happiness. It's just a feeling of, hey, I worked hard and I got what I tried to get. And that's the closest thing you get to happiness.
There's a moment of satisfaction. You have to
continue
to create that every day.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And I think like people taking Ozempic and stuff kind of okay, it's better than being fat, I guess, but like you're not experiencing and you're not gaining the knowledge that comes with actually putting in the effort to do it yourself. The habits you develop, the discipline you develop by spending a year, 2 years just taking that weight off. Those are habits that will stick with you for the rest of your life. Because it's like, okay, this I put blood, sweat, and tears into this process. I know what it takes now. So once again, if somebody does not have the willpower to go through with it, like take Ozempic, man, who am I to tell you what to do and what not to do? If it makes you feel better, that's fine. But by taking the shortcut, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because the best thing that comes out of the entire, getting fit journey is the sense of accomplishment, the sense of confidence you have. Like, bro, I just did something that's kind of difficult. Not a lot of people can do this. You feel good about it. The confidence building that comes with it. The you know, the fun. Like, bro, going to the gym, pumping iron is
Really
fun.
Yeah.
It's the most fun thing in the world. Like, I work out right now, like 5 to 6 times a week. 3 times I lift weights.
Yeah, but don't you
2, 3 times I do.
sometimes when like you haven't been
Bro, I can't take more than a day off the gym without feeling like, bro, I don't feel good. Like, I'm not lifting all 5, 6 times a week. I lift 3 times a week. Maybe four sometimes. But I'll get cardio twice in or thrice in a week just
How
for like
long
that.
have you been doing this?
Man, I started working out when I was 16 at 200 pounds. That's when I started.
That's like
12 years.
That's a decade and a half. Like,
That's 12, that's 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been maybe like not even 12 months, right?
Yeah.
Like I worked out before that in like short windows,
Yeah.
but it's never been as consistent as it is now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I'm very happy with my frequency in the gym. And I've kind of low key for the past few months at least been like dirty bulking.
Yeah.
I finally got out of that.
Don't dirty bulk.
Yeah, it's
Do not dirty bulk.
Yeah, like bad for
Yeah.
months.
I've dirty bulked a lot. Like, you always regret it.
That 4 months. Finally gotten out of that phase.
Yeah.
And realized that it's just not workable.
Yeah.
Right. But like now that I'm getting the biggest thing it did for me was the past few times I started, like I was worked out like for the first time maybe like 5 years ago. Like 6 months, and I stopped, and another few months, and you stopped. The thing that was different this time, two things really stood out to me. One was that and this is the definition of discipline, which I clearly did not know before. Like, I did not really absorb. I didn't absorb it the way I should have before. Was that it wasn't really supposed to matter whether I felt like doing it on the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just supposed to go ahead with it anyways.
Yeah.
Right? And that doesn't mean if you're
you have to listen to your body. Like, there's some days I'm going to the gym where it's like, bro, I'm feeling weaker than usual. Like, let's say on a given day, like, I'm struggling with my normal weight. Bro, it's fine. Do less reps, reduce the weight for that day.
Go.
But go. Like, get something in. You know what I mean? Progress, especially at the gym, is not just upwards. Like, you have to look at it year on year. It goes up and down, up and down, and up and down. It's like, fatigue plays a big role. Your sleep, your diet, all these things play a big role. If there's one thing I can say, it's that to anyone who's thinking about working out, I know by experience that the first instinct that comes to you is that I want to look better. And it's important to look better, don't get me wrong. But it's only when I started concentrating on, like, I want to feel stronger, I want to feel fitter, did I actually start making serious progress. So I did start working out at 16, but like I was the typical chud. I went and I just hit some biceps and I bounced. I lost some weight. It wasn't all for nothing, but it was only during COVID that, like, okay, I started following a proper program. I started, like, planning my stuff out. And the real progress it's like during COVID and after is when I started, like, I got into powerlifting.
So what branching of powerlifting, what's your opinion on just going hard at the gym? Because as a newbie, what I've experienced is, you know that meme which is like, don't do 10 reps of mild discomfort. It's like you actually, if you're not always training till failure, you're at least training until maybe you have a couple of reps in reserve. Right?
Yeah.
Because what I found was that the difference in when I started working out a few years ago, as opposed to this time, which has been much more sustained and much more consistent, is that this time I pushed myself. And when I did push myself, when it did really burn, that high is what you come back to chase the next day.
Yeah.
It does become fun. It does become its own kind of addiction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's the balance?
Okay, so as a newbie, bro, you can ride that high for year, 2 year, even 3 years, ride that high. It's only when you're in like this intermediate, semi-advanced stage. I'm not quite advanced, but like I'm maybe halfway to advanced, At that stage, you need to start thinking of things more technically, Like I can't go hard at the gym every day because the weights I'm doing now are not the type of weights that are as easy to recover from as they used to be. Like, it would be much easier for a newbie to recover from like a 50 kg bench press rather than me going and doing 100 kg for reps. Like that's gonna take me some more time to recover. I need to be in like a more of a bulking state of mind, like it's more difficult. Like, but for newbies, like bro, ride that train until the wheels fall off, have fun. It's only when you get to a little bit more of an intermediate position where you need to like start getting a bit more technical, a little bit more cerebral about your working out, about your weightlifting.
Dude, it's so easy now with like all the apps, all the programs you have. And I went through so many of them online. And, I was like too zoomed in. I was too intense about it.
Yeah.
And when I stopped being so close to the problem and I sat down and thought about it, I was like, dude, sure, this gives you a disproportionate benefit in X category or Y category.
Yeah.
All of them probably do something good for you.
Yeah.
Right? So start somewhere. And like I was thinking like, just this dynamic of us talking about it is particularly useful for like the average bro or like, the average person. Just because neither of us have been like disciplined since day one. We haven't always been like super fit. Like we're not those like, I've been a gym bro since I was 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You are formerly fat and you started being disciplined-ish when you were 16 and then you built that up.
Yeah. I would say I really started getting disciplined during COVID.
That's even
before that, I was just like, bro, I just don't want to get fat. Like I had so much like baggage of like being fat that like, bro, I never broke like 100 kg. Like for me, like I was so fucked mentally that I was like, bro, over 150 pounds, I felt fat. And it's like, bro, I was like, I was weak, but like, okay, I'm not fat, but like I wasn't getting anywhere, with that type of mentality. It's only when I like kind of said, bro, I need to put on some more muscle. I'm going to have to let the vanity out of the window for a bit. I'm going to bulk up a little bit. I'm going to try to put on more muscle. Is when I actually got disciplined about it. And like, contrary to what a lot of people think, losing weight is easier than gaining good weight.
Absolutely.
Like gaining good muscle, like I right now, like, I could I could lose 5 pounds of fat in a month, in the place I am at right now. If I was fatter, maybe 2 weeks, but the place I am at right now, maybe a month, I could lose 5 pounds of fat without losing any muscle. For me to gain 5 pounds of muscle, it would probably take me 5 to 6 months of like, really, really hammering out some hypertrophy focused training to get that 5 pounds of muscle. There's so much to it
on the non-technical end, it's like, so you've got this normal story. It's inspiring in a normal way. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like some David Goggins type, off the wall. Like,
no.
You've got like a...
I improve my life, you know what I mean? I improve my life. I have a hobby. I have something that I have fun with.
On my end, like, I always oscillated between being skinny and being skinny fat, right? Or skinny chubby, or whatever you want to call it. And I still retain some of that, but this discovering that there's a third thing, just for whatever reason, I just always thought that, I'm never going to be a gym bro.
Yeah.
Right? But when you start, it really does make...
It's a lot of fun.
Bro, it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, right? It's a lot of fun.
And coming to the mindset part of it, so actually, I also want to talk about sports, right? So we've gone through the gym arc in particular, but as someone who was lucky enough to be really into sports while I was younger. Even though in my mid-teens I became pretty infrequent, I think what I felt at least was back then when you were a kid, you're just playing football or whatever. You're not thinking so much about gaining weight or losing, like losing weight or gaining muscle or any of those things. Uh, and the mental imprint it leaves on you, I think it's hard to map it person to person, but like I can think of very specific things that it did for me when I was younger. So like, what was your relationship with sports then?
Man, like up until I was like 12, 13, I used to swim a lot. I used to take part in like some of these Sindh Open type things. I wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's just that, I got burnt out. At some point I got really, really burnt out with the swimming and I quit.
So on the sports side of things, because that's big part of the whole physical fitness thing apart from the gym art. Uh I always felt like as someone who's fortunate enough to be very into sports while I was younger, like all I can recall from my childhood, apart from Pokemon, is like be like between the ages of 7, 12. I'm out in the sweltering Karachi heat. It doesn't matter if it's like 42 degrees and the sun is shining on my face, or whether it's a breezy evening. I'm either like Karachi United or like I'm in the playground with my friends and like or I'm at home, like like with whoever I can find, and I'm just playing football. I was kicking the ball around, or I'm trying to play cricket as best I could. Or it's something, right?
Yeah.
And more than anything, I think it left a deep mental imprint on me. And it taught me a lot of things which I can now map back to my child and be like, okay, these are traits that I can definitely attribute to a large extent to my relationship with sports.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship with sports?
Man, my relationship with sports is that I used to swim a lot up until I was about 13. But like serious, not like joke swimming. Like I used to take part in like competitions and stuff. I'd be like training like 4 times a week, making 20 laps a day. But I got burnt out, man. Like it's not something I like doing. I think a lot of people have gone through that. It's like, it's like your parents kind of want you to do it. So it's like, you do it, but it's like you don't like it. So at one point I'm like, bro, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested in this. And I quit. And looking back on it, it was like, you know, do I regret quitting when I did? I'm a kid.
Yeah.
To some degree, because after that, it actually when I like, I grew like this sort of like, I started detesting any type of physical activity after that. So for the next 3, 4 years, bro, it's just KFC and Call of Duty, bro. It's like I wasn't interested in doing anything at that point because I was just so burnt out by swimming. And only when I was like 16 and, you start going through puberty, then you realize that, bro, I don't want to be ugly and stuff. And then I realized, bro, I'm 200 pounds, what the am I doing?
Yeah.
And then I started like, taking care of myself. Not really taking care of myself, but like,
You start thinking
I
on
got
the
it
right
together.
lines.
Yeah, I start thinking on the right line. I got it together. But like today, when I see like, bro, the kids these days, 16, 17-year-olds, they're much smarter than what we were. And also, they have a lot more access than we do. But like at 16, 17, like I said, like all I did was like, let me go hit some biceps.
Yeah.
Let me go do some chest. I probably never did like a squat ever. I probably never did like a deadlift ever.
So
I
you're
didn't.
like, you're like me right now.
Yeah.
Nah, not exactly.
Yeah.
Look at when I started, that's exactly how I was like.
Yeah.
Gone through. Yeah.
No, I was like that up until like I was like 21, 22. It's like, bro, I just want to be slim. Can I have like some arm veins?
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I was like a typical boy, like the boy physique. And then at some point, I realized, bro, I actually want to get kind of jacked. I was like, not that I'm jacked right now, but like, I want to get strong. I want to get bigger. But what did I say?
So you mentioned earlier, like the what I think is incredibly important. The fact is you didn't enjoy swimming.
Yeah,
I relate. By the way, I swam a while. I used to swim like a frog, and I looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I remember out of all of the things that my parents encouraged me to do as a child, that was the thing that I probably disliked the most. So they never really pushed me into doing it any more than I wanted. So I copped up pretty early. know, maybe if I'd stuck in it, it would have been different. I don't know. A big advantage, not just kids nowadays, but a lot of other people have, is like sports like paddle, pickleball, and all this stuff. That's a lot more. I mean, sports are recreational, yes, but these are a lot more recreational than the other things that we used to. You know what I mean? So, paddle. I'm not saying it's like not a sport, but it's something that you can pursue in a much more leisurely fashion than you could say. You know, play a proper game of football. I've played a reasonable game of paddle. It's a lot less physically demanding than a reasonable game of football. Right. Uh, so given that you've got like these advantages now, I think people have like one one less excuse to not be engaged in some sort of physically stimulating activity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have more distractions than ever as well.
That's
But
what-
you have also more knowledge on these things than ever, you know? Like I was saying, when I go to the gym today, I see like 16-year-olds hitting like, deadlifts and squats, and I swear like it makes me a bit happy. I'm like, these kids are smarter than I was. Like I had no idea about any of this stuff,
you know what you just said is really important, which is
If I started this stuff early, God knows where I'd be right now.
you know, if you there's more opportunities, also more distractions. You could kind of extrapolate that into fitness more largely over the past 50, 60 years, or even the past couple of decades, where sure you've got a lot more processed calorie bomb like foods, right? You've also got a lot more public gyms. You've got a sedentary culture of playing video games or being in an office chair all day. But you've uh, got a fitness counterculture as well. You've got run clubs, you've got sports in schools that were maybe not as common back in the day, especially for girls. So you've got all these things. So at some level, yeah, there's this negotiation of whether it's easier or not easier at certain points in your life. But if you've got access to some sort of physical activity and you're not doing it, that is essentially throughout the ages, it has remained a choice.
Yeah.
I think that's a position that I fundament people.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of chatter. Like I was reading a couple of things leading up to this reporting. There's analysis about, see about running in particular, which was like a lot of people say, "Oh, running is for everyone. Running is a great equalizer."
Yeah.
Right. But if you don't live in a neighborhood that's particularly safe, or if you're a woman, even in Pakistan, Karachi, right? Not everywhere is a soft bar, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
it's not as much of an equalizer as
they-
you would like it to be.
Yeah.
So, and while I'm not typically very sympathetic to these demography-based arguments, I think that makes total sense.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't have to just run, bro. Like, honestly, and this is like, in my own personal experience, the best form of cardio, in my opinion, is skipping. You don't need much space for it. I started going hard on skipping during COVID. We were all in lockdown, bro. Like, I need, like, 10 square meters of space. And I can,
Skipping, the great androgynous exercise.
bro, it's the best. It's the best. And it'll build your calves like nothing. It's extremely, it'll make your cardio really good. Like, bro, I I don't think it's an excuse. Like, if you want to do it, you can. There needs to be some degree of standards to these things. If you want to do cardio, go do skipping. Like, if you can't like afford a treadmill, if you're not in a neighborhood where in an area where you can run, go get a skipping rope. Like,
Bro,
there are plenty of things you can
I've
do.
seen
Hit burpees. I don't care.
Bro, I've seen a couple
There's
of
no reason for you not to.
I've seen a couple of fitness influencers. Bro, there's this kid. Bro, he's like, I think his page is something like Gym Rat from Gaza or something. I think that might be that. I'll find it. This guy's in a literal war zone.
Yeah.
And he documents his fitness journey.
Yeah.
Right? So that's another level, right? He's just doing push-ups and whatever he can find, like just
Yeah.
finding whatever he can, and just lifting it or running or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, similarly, I found like Pakistan would be like, you have a couple of these guys, and then you've got this Indian influencer in particular. I'll try and find it, we'll put it up in post, right?
Yeah.
Dude, this guy obviously doesn't come from much.
Yeah.
Right? Lives in, I don't want to say this, but in squalid conditions.
Yeah.
Right? But his content's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, he's like, he's using tires if he can find them. He goes to a public park and he runs. He does like he's doing pull-ups on the trees. You know, and actually, even in real life, like I remember in Islamabad when I used to go on like Trail 3, bro. So Trail 3 ke niche na, there's this across the road. There's a madrasa slash it's a madrasa and a mosque. Um, and a lot of the guys who attend that madrasa, students and teachers, you see that, dude, these are some of the fittest people you will ever see in your entire life.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a bit unassuming because when you picture like an incredibly fit hiker anywhere in the world, you've got like, you know, the urbanite picture of like synthetic clothes and like, but you're wearing like polkas or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you think of.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are, you know, long bearded men with like very long, like almost thobe like shalwar kameezes, right? And they're just sprinting up the mountain. I was like looking at them. I was like, bro, like, are you real? And bro, this guy, one of the guys, is like doing like kind of pull-ups on like tree branches and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, okay, dude, if you, again, it's like if you wanted to, you would, you know, if you want to,
You have no reason not to.
So, you know, where we started talking about all of this, and you showed me something which essentially snowballed into this episode. It was an article on like The Guardian or Bloomberg or somewhere where they tried to make the case that a fit, healthy body, as we know it today, the stereotypically healthy body,
Is a right wing phenomenon.
is a right wing, and more importantly, it's a recent phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that in the past, because we didn't have food in abundance, and it was a society of very few having a lot, being fat signified a certain level of opulence and wealth, and therefore it was attractive.
Yeah.
So, and you see this discourse everywhere. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so this is very, very interesting. It's like my two internet communities come and have a clash with each other. There's the menswear community and there's the fitness community.
Yeah.
So there's a menswear guy. His name is Derek Guy. He's a very, very good menswear writer. One of the best, actually. And he had an article on Bloomberg in which he's talking about how the current standards of masculinity and masculine dressing in particular are, you know, a right-wing phenomenon. And if you go back to the early 20th century, late 19th century, having fat bodies was more of a status symbol and it was more of a sex symbol. That's one of the things he said. The point of the article was about how, like, you know, right-wing bros wear bad suits. That was the main point of it.
They do.
And I don't disagree with
He's
it.
absolutely
And
right.
I don't, and he's absolutely on the money there.
The drain pipe trousers.
The drain pipe trousers, you know, the skinny, like, you know,
Disgusting.
stretch material suits and stuff. I agree with you there, Derek guy.
Yeah.
You have a point. But you lost me when you say that, you know, this is just 19th century. Bro, history is way, way, way older than that. You don't have to go back too far. Just go back 1,000, 2,000 years, you know, which is not much in the grand scheme of things.
Look at any of the Renaissance sculptors, bro.
Yeah.
Who emulated the Greeks.
Exactly.
And you've got all these chiseled, and that's what they call Greek godlike bodies.
Greek godlike
right?
bodies, yeah.
So that clearly references something to do with ancient Greece.
Yeah. So this isn't like some psyop in which we're trying to convince ourselves that, you know, these fit muscular bodies are attractive both for men to want and women to be attracted to. This is biology.
No, and for women to also have, like, not the same as men, but to be muscular, to be fit, to be healthy.
Yeah. Like the greatest heroes that you think of, is be it Achilles, be it Alexander the Great, you know, be it Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, bro, these guys are all big muscular guys. Like, you know, there's a reason why they're like this gold standard amongst, like, you know, male canon, so to say. There's a reason why every kid at some point was obsessed with Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
No one sits you down and tells you when you're a little boy that you have to find these guys cool. You just do.
I was a kid, bro. I didn't know anything about working out. I didn't know anything. It's like, bro, I love The Rock. I love Goku. Yeah. It's like, you know, Goku was jacked, but Goku stood for something. Goku stood for, like, you know, I am the hero. Like, I'll win at all costs. The Rock was just cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I get why body positivity became a thing, but body positivity is not and cannot be a thing for men, because most men, when they look at something like that, especially when they're kids, they don't feel bad about themselves. Bro, they just get motivated. Like, I swear, like, it was like, even when I was at my fattest, it didn't mean I don't want to watch Dragon Ball Z or I don't want to watch wrestling. It's like, I still want to watch it. It's not making me feel bad about it. But if anything, it's motivating me,
But when you were a fat kid and you imagined yourself like being like a warrior like Goku, were you like really big? Probably not in your head.
You know what really got me into everything? The movie 300 Spartans.
Yeah.
So that movie basically confirmed to me, bro, I need to look like that one day. Once in my life, I need to look like that. For once in my life, I need to see the beauty of which my body is capable of. Socrates said that, I think. So this idea that, up until the late 19th century, early 20th century, fat bodies on men were the sex symbol. I don't think this is true. I think, first of all,
Bro,
this is not even
Plato's
true.
the wrestler, bro.
Yeah, Plato's the wrestler.
The fact that you bring up the Greek masters is very convenient in this conversation, because contrary to this very recent depiction of the poet as this frail, very feminized, fragile man who just smokes a cigar, is very skinny, and has like, wears a particular kind of suit, is maybe kind of dandyish. So that's a very recent phenomenon. Plato, who is the father of the movement that birthed all of these modern writers, right, was one of the greatest wrestlers of his time. And just think about what that means for a second. You're in a society where every child is taught to wrestle from the time that he is a child. Right? And not only are you the philosopher for all times to come, right, so far at least, you're the best wrestler in a society where everyone wrestles. Right? So that's a ridiculous level of achievement for anyone to have. And it completely rebuts this modern archetype of the frail, pipe smoking,
See, here's the thing.
skinny, monocle wearing poet.
Eccentrics always existed, you know, and their aesthetics don't take away from the work they did. Like, Nietzsche infamously was a frail, weak, sickly man, but he wrote as if he was the ultimate Giga Chad to ever exist, you know. So I'm not going to judge somebody's aesthetic for the work they put out. I don't think that's fair. But the idea that this is a recent phenomenon is very, very misfound, bro. It's like, you go back to the Greek gods, you go back to Norse mythology, you go back to any such. So this idea that, you have to be a meathead to to be like into lifting and stuff, it's not true.
No, I would say that I fell for that for the longest time, because my first infatuation and my continuing love in life has been fiction, poetry, etc. I mean, now I work in something that has nothing to do with either of those things. But,
who your favorite characters of all time?
Well, I think the one thing that all of my favorite characters of all time have in common is they've all got that back to the wall, I'll do what's important for my community aspect to them. I feel a bit put on the spot, and I can't really name anyone in particular. But like, going really basic,
they're all probably jacked.
No, but they're all kind of jacked, right?
Yeah.
But I can put it this way: it ranges from real life like poets that I love, like or writers like Borges and like Roald Dahl, and the people who in my childhood and in adulthood really spoke to me. And it'll range all the way to like Muhammad Ali or like Michael Jordan, who are like, again, real life characters, or like I don't know. And then it goes from Goku to like Dante in the Inferno. Right. So it's like there's too many to name, and there's so many great people. When you consume the right type of literature, there's so many incredible personalities you come across, that all of whom have something that you can really extract from them that is of value. But so like, you've got this it's not the Western canon or the Eastern canon. It's everyone across all societies, across time and space, societies, thousands of
They
years
venerated this thing.
that did not even have any kind of cross cultural exchange.
Yeah.
And yet they all seem to hold some of these attributes.
Yeah.
in this.
You know how I know for sure being fat or being unfit was never a sex symbol. How I know for sure. Even if you want to talk about these guys from the 20th century and stuff, the robber barons and stuff, okay, you have comic illustrations of them as pigs or these fat, bloated creatures with tentacles. But if you look at their actual portraits, bro, John D. Rockefeller, the father of modern capitalism, the richest man to ever live, he was stick thin. He was a healthy looking guy. Look at Cornelius Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
They're all slim.
Yeah.
They're all in good shape. Tell me one historical great. This is even before the time of photography, when people used to do illustrations. Tell me one illustration of a great historical figure which is depicted as a fat guy. They aren't. Even if they were fat, they're not depicting themselves as such.
That's the real point.
So the entire idea that at some point it was a sex symbol or it was at some point desirable is moot. Because like I said, tell me one great historical figure who is depicted as fat. They're not there. You know?
And see, so
That's my problem with Derek Guy's article.
So, like, the absurdity of mainstream media, particularly left-wing media in the West, pushing these narratives, and by virtue of that, that trickling down into these woke left subalterns around the world, including our country. So the absurdity of pushing this is also something I want to address head on. Like, because I just said earlier, the people living very unhealthy lifestyles, rather than recognizing the fact that they should do better by themselves. And we genuinely would want everyone to just look, feel better. Rather than taking accountability, they want to usher even more people into their lifestyle. There's the political angle, which is like, okay, there's this community on the left that is like this. Then there's also just because they're pushing back on the fact that the right is increasingly adopting fitness as a strategy to, get followers, inculcate more support, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But increasingly, the right and fitness seem to be enmeshed, at least in the eyes of the left. Right? So, what do you think?
I think there's two parts of it. See, if you want to talk about Pakistan, right? The people who are demonizing fitness are not necessarily the left. It's mostly like, bro, our parents' generation who don't see the importance in any of this. Like, they think that life is all about, like, and it's a very important part of it, but like, पैसे बनाओ यार, fitness का क्या करोगे, six pack का क्या करोगे भाई, पैसे बनाओ. This mentality is not a leftist position. This mentality is a very Pakistan State type position, and those people are not exactly left,
No,
So
absolutely.
in Pakistan's context, right, the people who are the least fit is like in our generation, you still see people who are caring about it, but bro, in my parents' generation, these guys don't give a shit. Like they'll eat like 2 plates of nihari and they'll walk for 20 minutes and say, sahi hazam.
Look, that's undeniable.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. What's also undeniable is that there is a social space where you've got that particular left rhetoric trickling down, right?
Bro, it is true, but at least for Pakistan's case, that little left bubble is very, very like, it's not like it's definitely there in the West, but in Pakistan, bro, I would say the biggest enemies to fitness are the boomers in Pakistan. Because the boomers, they don't want to give up their 20 chais a day with 2 teaspoons of sugar in each one of them. They're the enemies.
Seeing as we've already covered that, my point in bringing that up was rather to discuss the mainstream rhetoric around it in the low.
Bro, the mainstream rhetoric around it is just like, the left has been basically winning everything for the past 100 years, but it'd be the biggest L in the world for them to like give up something that they were really good at. It's like, if you want to look at leftist insurgencies or leftist revolutions, the Russian Revolution, the Russians were tough guys and they cared about physical fitness. How do we know that? They won every Olympic gold under the face of the sun for the entire Soviet Union. They were leftist. They gave a shit about fitness. China is always up there with the top Olympic countries every year. China is a leftist society at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
No matter how much we want to like play semantics about it, at its core, it's a leftist society. It always has been. Let's talk about the Cubans, the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, Che Guevara.
These were not fat slobs, bro.
These are not fat
These were
slobs,
not
bro.
slobs. Yeah.
These are not slobs. Look at the Vietnam War, bro. Who was fighting against the Americans? It was the communist lefties who were not big, strong guys, but they sure as hell weren't afraid of getting their bodies dirty. So this idea that that left has to be fucking retarded to let go of something they have had so much success with, like masculine aesthetics, warrior aesthetics, you know, virile, confrontational. Like this is the left conquered a big part of the world with these things. So if they're gonna leave this space for the right to just take, they're stupid as hell.
They shouldn't.
And they shouldn't. Like, bro, everyone likes this stuff. Let me tell you something, and this is a controversial opinion, but I think if you give Gavin Newsom a bunch of populist talking points for the next election, I think he would beat JD Vance. I think he would.
Well, it depends, bro. I don't even know what Vance looks like anymore after all those memes, bro.
That's true.
Honestly.
But like just on like the aesthetic matters a lot, you know?
So the actual calculation of whether they win or not, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Would it make a positive difference?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is it generally just a good thing that someone gives like the American left a somewhat attractive, masculine, someone you can aspire to be kind of role model? Absolutely, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But I was reading something really interesting. I was browsing the comments of a bunch of these articles that I read about, fitness being right wing and like people who held that position, people against that position. What I found really interesting was there were a bunch of people commenting, the left wants you to be unfit and sedentary so that you're more dependent on the state, right? So that you can't work and that you're like on food stamps.
Yeah.
Also that you're unwell and that you have to rely on, Medicare or whatever.
Yeah.
All those, the medical programs.
I don't know if it's the left or it's the new libs.
So the idea there, so firstly you're like, okay, that sounds conspiratorial to a point where and I'm not
pretty tinfoil hat.
It's a bit tinfoil hat, and for someone who like I'm into the whole conspiracy thing, like it is a bit tinfoil hat. But the way that you can extract a kernel of truth from that sentiment is that companies that benefit from people gaining weight, right, whether the pharmaceutical companies or others, they most definitely have their tentacles in every single arm of the U.S. government, and obviously in other places in the world as well. And then they make a big difference.
Yeah, but like I don't think it's fair to just put that on the left because like the fattest U.S. states are like the more rightly. No. I just like eating McDonald's breakfast, lunch, and dinner is not an exclusively like left thing. It's part of America. It's a neoliberal phenomenon to be addicted to sugar and like this amazing tasting food and all these stimulants and like gooning all day. This is a I think it's a I honestly
it's
like
fundamentally a class issue, like a lot of other things tend.
Yeah.
It is fundamentally.
I don't think it's essentially like a left thing.
No,
I think
not.
it's a neolib. I think it's a neolib thing.
I don't
and I'm a capitalist truther, and I'm afraid of saying it's a capitalist thing, but it is kind of a capitalist thing. It's come to the territory,
Absolutely. And it's increasingly, and this kind of comes back to the aesthetics of it, which is like, yes, now in the current moment, more than ever, being fat is associated with being poor.
Yeah.
Or at least living a certain kind of lifestyle that is not associated with the mainstream rich, famous.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah.
And being slave toned is the aesthetic now of the rich.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they're all jacked.
What do they all do after being nerds their entire lives? They've conquered the world. What is their last frontier? Physical fitness.
Yeah.
That's not influence.
Absolutely, yeah. It's no, absolutely not, bro. Like today, the modern day, like if you look at like the 5 richest men on earth, bro, I think all of them are in shape. Like Bernard Arnault, LVMH, slim as hell. Like slim, like the guy is 75, 76. He doesn't have a pound of fat on him. He's not jacked, but he's fit. You know what I mean?
He's a
Yeah.
quintessential YSL model.
Yeah.
Like
He
actually,
literally is, yeah. Larry Ellison. Bro, Larry Ellison looks great for mid-70s. Mark Zuckerberg is jacked now too. Jeff Bezos is jacked now too.
Bro, imagine.
Elon Musk has put on a bit of weight, but Elon Musk still, he's fat, but he has muscle underneath that, all that pudginess. He used to be pretty jacked like a few years ago.
Really?
He used to be, yeah, look at his old pictures. He used to have like
I didn't
biceps and stuff. Yeah. Look at that guy, yeah.
At least
Have you seen the Telegram guy?
Who?
Pavel Durov, the Telegram guy.
Oh yeah, I have.
Bro, that guy is built like a fucking swimsuit model, and the guy's worth 20 billion. Like, look at that guy, bro.
Yeah.
So this idea that it's not for the elites. No, it is for the elites. So it's expensive to shop at Whole Foods, man. It's expensive to eat healthy foods. It's cheap to have McDonald's, and that's
Bro, one of those Whole Foods like pre-seasoned tilapia or salmon was like $15, bro. It's just kinda crazy.
It's not cheap,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap to look fit.
Another interesting extension of that, I started digging deeper into these forums and these articles, and another very interesting, like I generally like, I mean, as ironic as it is that we're just like two Londas from Karachi talking about like deep US politics and like political cultural stuff. It's pretty funny. And we're like, really validating the whole neo-colonial thing. Like this is irony that's at the center of like this entire arrangement that we have.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are certain aspects of subcultures online that I realized that I wasn't as attuned to as I thought. Like, and the way this really manifested was, so there were a bunch of articles covering how new age leftists, so the hippie of today, think like vegan recreational pole dancer, definitely lives in like some hippie area of New York or like whatever, I don't know, right? So it's like those guys on the one end, and far right fitness freaks on the other.
Yeah.
Right. And the analysis of how so many of the political positions that they hold are functionally the same. As in, yes, there'll be some variation on where they stand on social issues.
Yeah.
But their attitude towards the state in general. So things like both of them are increasingly anti-vax.
Yeah.
Right? Both of them have increasingly cynical attitudes towards big pharma.
Yeah.
And by extension, big business and traditional authorities and institutions en masse. And that extends even further into being pretty much very anti-credentialism and being very against gatekeeping of traditional structured, even STEM-related knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? So things like influencers, or
let's talk about Luigi Mangione is the example to give. Both the conspiratorial left and the conspiratorial right both unanimously loved him, and we still don't know if Luigi Mangione a leftist or a right wing guy. Like the horseshoe theory you're talking about, it's like, bro, it's because this guy had some clearly far left positions, like capitalism, and he had the Unabomber thing, but at the same time, he was a jack guy, by the way.
But see,
you're
functioning.
And if you look at some of his book reviews, right? Like he was like, he loved Nietzsche and stuff. I mean, I don't know, but he was into some right wing authors as well. So they're functionally the same.
Exactly. So functionally, consequentially, their net output in society, if they had a political party, if they had seats, their political position on the most consequential bills that they could possibly ever table would be the same.
Yeah, they correct. Right? Yeah.
So and the other things like the social programs, their positions on certain social issues end up being a small part of, say, their overall quote unquote political portfolio.
Yeah.
Right. So that was an incredibly interesting phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that they particularly related that to health was kind of like hands off my body.
Yeah.
I want to eat natural.
Yeah.
I don't want pasteurized milk anymore, and you know, other things like that. So I would actually say RFK Jr. is kind of another vague approximation of that person,
Yeah.
because he holds a lot of right wing things,
But
but
if you're a Democrat.
he used to be a Democrat. He was like environmental lawyer, so it's like that entire the vegan thing and the jacked right wing bro thing. He's got like, it's like all in one.
Yeah,
Right?
it's interesting.
Yeah,
They kind of
click,
they do conflate at some point. And like if you look at like, who's okay, you got the Andrew Tates and the Joe Rogans of the right wing. Bro, who are like some of the top guys on the left wing? I would argue today that the most influential left voice in that entire internet zeitgeist is Hassan Piker. No, it's Hassan Piker. Well, Hassan Piker is jacked.
Yeah.
He's jacked. He looks
A right wing brain and a leftist body.
Yeah. There was an article I was like,
A left wing brain and
a left wing brain in a mega body. And it's like, well, see, even these guys are going to like, ultimately push comes to shove. They want these guys to be the face of their movement. So it's like, bro, advice to the lefties, bro, just reclaim your virile strength. I actually agree with you on a lot of things. It's just that you guys are so soy. I don't want to. It's embarrassing. It's so soy. And the thing is that like on a lot of issues, like, and we've had this conversation many times. Like, I hold a lot of leftist position at the end of the day. A lot of position I'm quite right, but a lot of position I take leftist position at the end of the day. Same thing with a guy like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had a lot of leftist position. He was Bernie Sanders supporter.
But they beat them out of him, bro.
But yeah.
They annoyed him to the point that he doesn't.
It's like you're so soy. Like, bro, fuck this. I don't want anything to do with this. It's like, bro, like if you were a leftist, like just get a little bit more jacked, and I swear people
might listen to you.
People might listen to you. You might get the male demographic back. Just be a bit jacked, bro. That's all we're asking you.
But that's actually a good point too. The fact that they're increasingly losing the male demographic.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, why would you consciously like support something that hates your existence unless you're some masochist,
But see, increasingly, you've got like this. The new age guys. What they make me think of is like, it's an extension of, or it's an ideological eventuality that began with hippies, right? In some way or form. And the hippies, a lot of people allege, are like a CIA op.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take that seriously for like even a minute, right? It's like, think about it. It almost feels as if the hippie movement was like this half-baked attempt to reconcile some sort of, I'm not saying this is what it actually was, but sometimes this is that's how I conceptualize it, is to reconcile a lot of right positions and a lot of left positions. And in the modern day, it kind of makes sense like that it's ended up here, because you've got, again, that the horseshoe theory thing I was talking about earlier, and the way that it really made me think back to Mughal history. I don't know if it's all right to like, just like, you're like, yeah, this corporation will build the road. I don't know, like.
I feel like it's really issue dependent for me, man. Like I can't put myself anywhere, or some, I would say on most social issues I probably lean more left.
When you branch out from this entire political angle we're talking about and take it just deeper into the left-right angle, you've got this great irony at the heart of all this, which is that it's the mainstream leftist publications that are asking you to trust the science, that are asking you to trust traditional institutions, that are asking you to trust big pharmaceutical companies and big companies in general, and that are voicing the most vociferous support for the most deep statey establishment status quo things possible, right? I don't think it was a coincidence that as I was looking into the political angle of all of this, that a lot of the articles that were criticizing this new age far-right fascist alliance along fitness and health, for some reason they were all sprinkled with references to like Russia and Ukraine, and that, oh, these people became increasingly pro-Russia. And it's like, maybe they're just like, maybe it has something to do with them not buying your establishment's bullshit every time about how it's really good to go to a war.
Yeah.
And maybe it says something about you that whereas you were always kind of cool and kind of rebellious, and that you had some sort of association with like these actual physically uh, capable and active rebels in the 20th century, and then you were kind of anti-state or anti-status quo.
Until the game.
But you were kind of anti-status quo in the late 20th century, that you reached a point where everything suddenly flipped, and you're asking people to trust the institutions, which means the institutions are taking your position, which means, as you just said, you won.
Yeah, you won the culture war. Like, bro, nobody's wearing Hitler shirts. People are wearing Che Guevara shirts. People are wearing the hammer and sickle shirts. You know what I mean? You won the culture war. And what actually won it for you, you just thrown it away. It's really dumb.
The worst part of all of this is that
Yeah.
that and the worst part is you are so dissatisfied with what your victory created, which was an institutional capture, a leftist institutional capture of all major Western institutions in most countries, with few exceptions, that you don't even claim it anymore. You try to still clothe yourself. I mean, yes, recently with this of a breakdown with like a right resurgence, but say until a year or two ago,
Yeah.
you still try to clothe yourself as the rebel, as the anti-status quo actor, when you're really obviously not.
Yeah.
Right? It makes so the most disgusting thing is that you take all these Ivy League universities and stuff.
Yeah. The cathedrals.
They're the cathedrals. So they at once are the progenitors of all of this intersectional, subversive, far left theory. Right? All the postmodern, like Mapo Jumbo word salad, right? At the same time, these are the same institutions like MIT and whatnot that are funded tens of billions of dollars to like develop
nukes.
Tech for you that is essentially military applicable, right? And they feed that entire military industrial complex, and you do not have the honesty or the introspection to see that they both come from the same place. They both come from a place of power, and there's no coincidence that you ended up being distracted by the social issues and being radically pro-war at the same time. It's not an accident.
I don't know. I agree with like most of it. I do not think that like the actual like hippie leftists are pro-war, man. I think it's still the new left. But the neocons are even more pro-war. Like it's the neos, bro. It's the neos. I'm telling you, the issue is not the left or the right. It's the centrist. The only issue is that what used to be the left of the 1950s is now the centrist position. That's the issue here. I think that says
even more recent, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's more indicative of the fact that the left just long term wins. But if you look at today's leftists, their ideas are only gonna be like validated in 30 or 40 years from now. But today, they're not the status quo. You know what I mean? Bernie Sanders is not the status quo on 90% plus progressive tax regimes and stuff. Like they're not. Maybe they get there, but today they're not. And I think
so.
And I think
reality, sure, you've got so 100%. The centrist uniparty, pro-war war hawks from both sides. That is obviously the problem. At the same time, you can't ignore people who self-identify as leftists, right? A mainstream like Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, who clearly pander to leftist ideals, and the Democratic Party at large being held hostage by their furthest left, right? And even if they're paying just lip service to them, right? So at least you can say, okay, this is a self-identified left, and maybe this isn't the true left, but you can't completely discount it.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe.
But yeah, final comments, final thoughts.
Go to the gym, bro.
Go with you.
You learn a lot.